Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Love Japanese pro wrestling? Want coverage of the entire scene, men's and women's promotions, from New Japan to Stardom, Noah, All Japan, DDT, Marigold, and more? Then Wrestling Omakase is the podcast for you. Hosted by a 23-year Puro Watching veteran, that's me, John Carroll, and a rotating cast of co-hosts, we bring you a passionate, knowledgeable look at the wide world of Japanese wrestling. Wrestling Omakase is right here on the Voices of Wrestling Network. Check us out on any podcast app or feed today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to Jumping Bomb Audio.
Everyone, and welcome back to Jumping Bomb Audio, the number one show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. My name is Taylor, and I am joined, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Kelly. Kelly, how's it hanging?
It's hanging down. That's good, because that's where things hang. Ladies and gentlemen listening, I want you all to know that before we got on the air, Taylor was telling me about taking pictures of something in his toilet.
Wow, that's what you're gonna do to me here? Wow.
Is that untrue? Is that untrue?
It is not untrue, but now I have to tell the whole story of why.
See, you can either just leave it at that, or
you're burying me on this show here.
That's what you get for naming me Natsukatori's number one fan.
Fine. I will. I just got back from a lovely trip to Maine in the United States. It was very nice. Beautiful state. I had never been before. Kelly, have you ever been to Maine?
I have never been to Maine.
Do you know what the nickname of Maine is? The state nickname?
Lobster Town?
No, that's a logical guess, but I did not know this, but it's on all the license plates in Maine.
Oh.
Maine is known as Vacation Land.
Oh.
Which I was not aware of. A lovely place to vacation. Saw some fun lighthouses. If you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, Kelly, have you ever seen Forrest Gump?
I've actually never seen Forrest Gump.
Oh, well, spoilers for Forrest Gump.
There's a lighthouse in it?
Spoilers ahead for Forrest Gump. There's a section in Forrest Gump where he decides he's going to run cross-country repeatedly.
Okay, yeah.
And he runs from California to Maine. And when he gets to Maine, which is the end of one side, he runs out to this lighthouse and he touches the lighthouse, or I don't know if he touches the lighthouse, but he's like, I'm at the lighthouse. and then he turns around and he goes back the other way. And that lighthouse where he goes, I went to in Maine. They have a lot of pictures of Tom Hanks there. It's a very historical lighthouse that was formerly run. I noticed that they've had many lighthouse keepers throughout the years. One of the lighthouse keepers' name was Rodney Drown, which I thought was a poor name for someone running a lighthouse.
I am absolutely not going anywhere near the water if I am that man.
I'm Mr. Drown, and I oversee this lighthouse.
Not a chance.
But a lovely place. We flew into Portland, Maine, and we're about an hour and 45 minutes northeast for most of the week in Owl's Head. It was very wonderful. But anyway, to get to the point of the story that Kelly doxed me on, I returned home yesterday. I woke up this morning and discovered that I had a tick on me. It had not bitten me, but it was on me. And in a panic and in an attempt to rid myself of it, threw it in the toilet to flush it down. But before I flushed it, I took a picture of it so that I would have a record of it if I start dying of a mysterious illness in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens with the next episode of Jumping Bomb Audio.
So I wonder how long that tick was on you just chilling.
I don't know. I wish I knew. That would be very helpful information to know.
Yeah. Or like,
I figured they would like get on you and immediately start biting.
Yeah. He was just a real chill tick, like just a cool guy.
Yeah, or maybe he came from like my suitcase and so had just gotten out of my suitcase and climbed up into my bed or something. I don't know. But anyway, that is why no perverted reason.
Yeah, Taylor wasn't taking massive dumps and sending me pictures.
I also think, Kelly, I think you saying it weirdly makes it seem more likely to be perverted. Not having anything to do with me, but the fact that you said it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, so, I can own that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, tick a singular, knock on wood, singular tick aside at this point. Maine, very lovely. Would recommend. If you like lobster, you can eat a lot of lobster there. They could call it lobster. Well, they would have to call it
bigger
lobster
than a
state.
Town.
Yeah. And you can fly into the Portland International Jetport. So 2 things about the Portland International Jetport. It's not called an airport. It's called a jetport. And it's called the Portland International Jetport, and it does not fly internationally.
So they're just full of lies.
There are no international flights at the airport.
Is it only jets?
Well, I believe a jetport was like a 60s term for an air, like some sort of landing area that's able to handle jets.
Okay.
But now in 2025, every airport is technically a jetport.
Yeah.
Because every airport can handle, I mean, maybe not every airport, not small ones, but sort of regionally sized and larger airports are all also jetports.
So they just want to sound fancy.
Yeah, it just sounds sort of cool and, also international, and they're not international. So just trying to, hype themselves up a little bit, I think.
That's saying you're international is big. Whatever drink you have has like natural flavors on it, where it's just like, it doesn't fucking mean anything.
Well, also big world title, like your local independent wrestling company being like, this is the world title, because it was definitely defended in, 15 minutes into Canada one time.
It was decided in a battle royal in Brazil.
Exactly. But speaking of wrestling, why don't we talk about some Joshi wrestling here on this show?
I suppose.
But before we do that, let's not do that yet. And let's talk about some plugs. follow us on Blue Sky at JBomb Audio. Or you can follow Kelly at Comic Geek Kelly. You can follow me at Tamambo. Subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice. And if that app of choice is Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can donate to the show at redcircle.com/shows/jumping-bomb-audio. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a bunch of random stuff. A sort of strange 2 weeks. Nothing, I guess, from an in-ring perspective, too wild going on. But some things to talk about, some sort of future things to talk about. So let's just dive right in. With Stardom. We'll start with Stardom. They had a few shows. Now, they had a Korakuen Hall show a few hours ago at the point of recording, which I have not seen. Kelly, you have not seen.
I have not seen it. I know there was supposed to be a trios title match that got canceled because of the injury Rena sustained on the New Blood show.
Yes, John. I know John from Wrestling Omakase, our good friend over there, I believe, did watch it live. They really enjoyed the show from talking to them. So seems like it was a good show. Just we haven't seen it yet. That's the facts. What else happened in Stardom on June 25th? Hanan and Saida retaining their tag titles against Saki and Yuna Mizumori. There was a New Blood show on July 4th. Kelly, did you see this?
I did not. Literally all I saw from it was the clip of Rena getting hurt, which looked gnarly, but I'm glad she's going to mostly be okay. It seems like it was a concussion. So I think she'll be ready to go for the 5-star, though.
The main event of that show, Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama retaining their tag titles against Momo Kogo and Yuri Hime. Probably the biggest news of the last 2 weeks for Stardom, the announcement of the 5-star Grand Prix participants and blocks. There are 4 blocks this year, the Red Stars and Blue Stars, broken up into blocks A and B. So we'll dive into this, give our thoughts on each block. Kelly, I think we haven't talked about this yet with each other. I think we're fairly lined up on our favorite block, although maybe we aren't lined up.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Are we going to be best friends or are we going to fight?
The Red Stars Block A is going to be Azusa Inaba, Lady C, the current high-speed champion, Mei Sierra, Sayaka Matani, Hanan, Yuna Mizumori, Waka Tsukiyama, and the returning and nearly unrecognizable to my eyes, B. Priestley.
Yeah, if you hadn't asked me, like, is this B. Priestley? I would not have made the connection that it was her. Like, her eyes look the same. Nothing else.
She's been WWEified.
Yeah, she got that NXT UK retirement and turned into a different person.
Her last Stardom match was back in 2021, which is weirdly more recently than it feels.
I would have guessed like 2019.
But I do remember now thinking about it that it was post the height of COVID shutdown. So I'm like, well, I guess 2021 does make sense. It was April of 2021.
Okay.
Losing a World of Stardom title match to Utami at Yokohama Dream Cinderella. Not the main event of that show.
I have zero recollection of that match.
Kelly, for $1 million, could you name me what the main event of Dream Cinderella in Spring on April 4th, 2021 was?
Okay, it wasn't. I'm gonna go. Was it like a Julia Tom match?
Julia was involved. Tom was underneath the World of Stardom title match, holding the Wonder of Stardom title, defending it successfully against Natsupoi.
Okay.
The answer is it was a Goddesses of Stardom title match. The Donna Del Mundo duo of Julia and Chiri defeating the Donna Del Mundo duo of Micah and Kimika.
What a bizarre main event.
To win the titles. Current cage match rating 7.78.
I have no recollection of possibly that entire show.
Really reviews all over the board here for the show. I couldn't have named that.
Was I on the on this show yet when that happened?
That's a great question.
Because if I wasn't, I just may not have seen it.
I don't know how I would remember that.
I know.
Now I'm scrolling through.
Because that wasn't.
Let's see. April
that wasn't
4th?
Himika's write-off, right?
No. April 4th. You were not on this show.
Okay, so I never saw this show then.
Yes, that was reviewed on the April 5th episode of Jumping Bomb Audio. Aaron and Taylor start by reviewing Stardom's April 4th Yokohama Cinderella in Spring show, including B. Priestley's surprising announcement that she's leaving the promotion and Julia winning another title in the main event.
All right.
So
that explains everything.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven for not having a steel trap of a mind.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, B. Priestley's back. Kelly, what do we think of the Red Stars Block A?
I think Block A is pretty good. I think Saya will have a bunch of good matches. A lot of interesting matches. Or not interesting is the wrong word. A lot of matches you just won't see normally. Like, I am very excited for Saya versus Hanan. I think that's my most anticipated match of the block for sure. And I'm hoping Yuna is able to get some good matches out of this block too.
I think it's the block with a lot of people who have something to prove.
Yes.
May Sierra, Hanan, Yuna, B coming back. Maybe not Waka. I don't know. I think at this point Waka sort of is what Waka is.
I feel Wakamania is just it's not running wild anymore, but it
contained.
Exists, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very contained.
Yeah.
Lady C, I guess. I don't really know what to think about Lady C. But a fun, I think an interesting block, if not from a perspective of like the most exciting, like, wow, we're going to get some really great matches. I think the most interesting of the blocks, maybe.
Who do you think comes out of this block?
Well, aren't they doing like this 1, 2, 3 from each block? Did I watch that correctly?
Honestly, I don't know.
I think they're doing. I forget how all these 8 million tournaments all work now that every year they're slightly different than.
I think I just assumed that one person came out of each block. Like you probably should.
I think what's happening is that the top 3 in each block come out.
Okay.
The 2 and 3 face off against each other.
Okay.
The winner of 2 and 3 faces 1. And then it's however 8 people, then it's 4, and then it's 2, and then it's a winner.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, you would have to think. I mean, if we're talking 3, you would have to think probably Saya's involved somewhere in that.
Yes.
I would think that B probably will be up near the top in some form or fashion. I'm assuming she's not coming back to like finish 2 and whatever. You know, like 1 in 6, however many people are in this block. I don't know. The third, I mean, it could be May Sierra. She is a champion. Now she's the high speed champion, which they don't really care about that much.
Yeah,
but I'm like, who else would it be? Oh, Hanan, yeah. I'm like, it's not going to be Lady C, I would imagine.
Okay, I'm looking at the brackets now. So you've got 3 from each, but then so like the upper left-hand corner is the Blue Stars A number 1 gets a bye in that first round.
Yeah, that's what 2 and 3 face off against each other, and then the winner of that faces 1.
But it's the
right?
No, it's slightly off because it's Blue Stars B2 versus Blue Stars A3.
Oh, I see.
It's one of
it
those
isn't a 1-to-1.
It makes it needlessly confusing.
I simplified it in my mind, and I think
no, you made it make sense.
I guess that makes sense because then you would have people just wrestling each other again.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess that makes sense. But I guess I just looked at them and was like, the colors, that all makes sense.
No, I was looking at it and like, wait a minute, this is not that.
Anyway, so
it's
that's
kind of
what
useless
it is.
To be like, hey, this person's coming out of this block because who the fuck knows? So we could be like, all right, 3 people instead of 1 single one. So I'm going, Saya, Hanan, and B.
Red Stars not B block. Red Stars block B is Rion. That won't be confusing.
Nope.
Saika Carrara, Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, Tomoka Inaba, and Natsuko Tora. Natsuko Tora is like the bomb at the end of the list where you're like, whoa, you're like, Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, Inaba. Oh, Tora. Like, every show is gonna have a bad match.
The lead weight on this tournament, and Tora's gonna get some main events, which sucks.
It's like you're gonna have like Starlight Kid at Natsupoi, Azumi, and Inaba. You're gonna be like, this is so good, and you're gonna get like Natsuko Tora and Rina. And you're just gonna be like, oh fuck, oh god.
And I like Tora's probably gonna be in the 3 that make it out of the block, right?
I'm assuming, although I don't. Of Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Natsupoi, is it Azumi who doesn't make it out if Tora makes it in?
I mean, yeah, probably.
So let's all pray.
Yeah, like in an ideal world, it's Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Natsupoi. But we don't live in that world. We live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
But other than that, this block rules.
Yeah, the world has taught us differently than that our dreams are not possible.
If there is anyone that I wish would have gone with Rossi, it's Natsuko Tora. Like, if he just could have taken everything I didn't like about Stardom with him.
I don't know. As someone still watching Marigold, I'm like, I don't know if I could handle Megaton and Natsuko Tora in the same promotion. Marigold doesn't need anything else that makes it more of a slog for me to watch. I just want to watch good wrestling.
Yeah, well, that's your mistake for watching Marigold.
Yeah. Anyway, that is Red Stars Block B. I mean, Kelly, I think this is where our disagreement is because I think I saw your thoughts briefly yesterday, but I think this is the best block, except that Tora fucks it up.
Yeah, mine is one of the blocks we'll go on with. I just think that Tora is such a lead weight. Because, like, I'm looking at the list, And I don't think she's going to have a single match I enjoy with any of these people. Whereas, honestly, if you put Tora into a different block, there are matches that I think could work. But this one, I think, uniquely is bad matchups for Tora.
I just think there's enough with Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, and Inaba.
Yeah.
Like just all the combinations of those four where it's like, okay, it's likely every show you'll have at least one match where you're like, oh, that sounds really fun.
Mm-hmm.
That can at least sort of counteract the Natsuko Tora stuff. And there's enough on the other blocks where there's like, oh, I like these, 2 or 3 people, but there's more like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
People,
I do wish they would have split up Azumi and Starlight Kid. Because we've seen that match a bunch of times, and I think, I don't want to say they're like too similar, but I believe one of them could have been used better in another block.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just looking at the blocks. There's one block. I guess we should talk about the next block because I don't think they would go in this block. So I guess they could go in the Blue Stars, but then it's like, who do you switch?
I think I would just switch Azumi and Lady C. And I think that opens up more good matches in the A block for sure.
I just think then you unbalance the B block, and then you're sort of like.
Yeah. I think the B block is almost too stacked. Aside from Tora,
it's all random chance, Kelly. Don't you know? It's
That's
not planned
true.
out in advance.
Ah, shucks, I forgot about that.
Anyway, the Blue Stars Block A is going to be Yurihime or Akira Kuragane. There's a qualifying match that will happen. Bozilla. Aya Sakura, Miyu Amasaki, Saya Ida, Seriano, Ami Sore, and Ruaka. I think this is just going to be the Bozilla destruction block, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
she's
that'll
going to
be fun.
destroy. She's going to destroy at least like 5 of these people, seemingly very easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of interesting. I'm like, okay, Ida.
That'll be great. I'm into that.
Ida, Seriano will be fun. Like, will be interesting to see what Ami Sore can do. Miyu Amasaki. Like, there's some interest here, but it feels very obviously like we didn't want to have Bozilla kill people that we actually really care about.
Yeah. And I think the block is solid enough other than that we'll get good matches throughout.
Yeah. I mean,
and even like
also,
the weight around this one is Ruaka, who is nowhere near as bad as Natsuko Tora.
And then the Blue Stars Block B.
This is my pick.
Konami, Suzu Suzuki, Rani Yagami, Momo Kogo, Hina, Hanako, Momo Watanabe, and the IWGP Women's Champion, Saree. This is another interesting one where I'm like, yes, there are some good. Like Suzu Suzuki definitely I feel like has a lot to prove in this block. Konami, who has sort of been like since all that went down. But like Rana is interesting. I'm sort of there's something about Momo Kogo where I'm sort of like, I'm always interested to see her, even though I sort of know that there's not much going on there.
This block kind of feels like the ass kickers in Momo Kogo.
But you know what I mean about Momo Kogo?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not expecting like she's gonna start like becoming a huge title challenger, but I'm always sort of like, she's very interesting.
She's good. She's competent in ring. She's genuinely likable. Honestly, I like her so much more ever since we found out that she has was it lupus?
Yes.
Yeah,
Lupus?
something like that. She's got
yeah.
some terrible disease where it's like, holy shit, you're fighting through a lot, and that makes her very interesting. But like, so I think she'll be good in this block. And Hina, I've gotten high on lately. I thought she was really good in her last Future of Stardom defense. Hanako's a lot of fun. Momo Watanabe continues to deliver in big spots, so I think she'll have a bunch of good matches. Konami might shit the bed. Who can say anymore? That is the one where I said in the Voices of Wrestling Slack, ideally, I would swap out Konami and Natsuko Tora because I think there's more matchups here that would be interesting for Tora. Like, I think watching her get her ass beat by Sareee would be awesome. I think she could have a decent enough match with Hanako, and Rana Yagami and Suzu Suzuki could be a fun brawl. So I think that's the way I would have gone. Sareee versus Suzu Suzuki is definitely the match I'm looking forward to most in that block, I think.
Yeah, I just think the block, like, if you took Sareee out of the block and replaced her with, like, I don't know, Ami Sourei or something.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
like you'd look at the
then.
block and be like, I don't know about this block.
But with Sareee, this block is look at all these cool Sareee matches.
She's sort of like a cheat code for the block.
Yeah.
In that you're like, wow, she'll have great matches because she always has great matches. But that is the 5-star Grand Prix. We will talk when the specific dates come out, and we will be covering that as we usually do. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of Grand Prix, speaking of qualifying, speaking of Marigold, Marigold had on June 28th 2 matches to qualify for their Dream Star Grand Prix. The first was run by Rei Aseto, and the second, thankfully, was won by Senka Akatsuki. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Someone who I'm like, oh great, some matches I'll look forward to.
It's why like these two gauntlets were wild watching them because it showed me that Senka is the absolute best and worst thing to happen to Marigold because she makes all of their other young wrestlers look so fucking bad. Like, Senka just operates on such an entirely different level of quality than the rest of them. It's insane. Like, did you catch the bit when Senka was wrestling Hummingbird where, like, she was gonna turn her over into the Boston Crab and the referee started counting Hummingbird's shoulders down and Senka rolled her over because she realized that Hummingbird was not going to kick out because she didn't know that was happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing I said last episode where I'm like, it's been great having Marigold here because they have great matches, but I just watched the matches with Marvelous. It's great having the Marvelous people here because I watched the matches with Marvelous people and I'm like, oh, Marvelous rules.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Marigold, for bringing me more of a different promotion that's much better than you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was shocking just watching that, and it's like, wow, these girls need work.
So that will be fun. That will add a wrinkle. We talked about all the entrants with that horrible noise last episode.
It's kind of like, I haven't watched a Big Japan show in a while, but like for their big cards when they're going through the card before the show and they've got like the metal doors that like shut between each match.
Yeah.
Where it's like so-and-so's match and then bing, boom, pew, pew, and it's like, oh, fuck, okay, we're going to do that every time. Great. Okay.
I don't remember what that sound is because I have not watched a Big Japan show in many years at this point.
Yeah.
But it clearly was that, but it was just a horrible sound. It was a horrible sound. Then on June 30th, there was Noah's Wrestle Magic. There was a GHC women's title match. Takumi Iroha defeating Victoria Yuzuki. Kelly, your thoughts on that one?
It was good. I enjoyed it. There was a little bit where like Yuzuki flew a little too close to the sun and kicked Aroha in the face and busted her lip open. And there was just this little smile that Aroha had where it's like, all right, you want to fucking play, let's go. And she just kicked the shit out of her after that. It was really funny. But yeah, overall, good match. I enjoyed it. And then after the match, Utami came out and like held up the title at Aroha. So setting things up for them going forward.
What else has happened? Tokyo Joshi on the 27th of June had Hype 3, the third Hyper Misao produced show. Kelly, we talked a little about this yesterday as I was catching up on it. This was the first Hype where I think what do I think? I think I thought they don't need to do these every year.
It was too much of not a wrestling show.
I think in the past year, certainly the first one, which I thought was so good.
Yeah.
I thought was really well put together. It had a really clear purpose. It, with the Mahiro stuff and doing all that and sort of hyping her up and be like, look at this person. And it sort of led somewhere. I don't even really remember last year's all that well. I remember sort of liking it equally, maybe a little less. This one, I just felt like I was sort of watching an unrelated play that everyone decided to just put on.
Yeah.
That had a wraparound story that affected it with the we're switching bodies. Oh, we're not actually switching bodies. Oh, and then at the end, we'll just do a match. And this will be that part. It was just sort of a random story. It felt in a way like when Super Sasadango Machine does the PowerPoints.
Yes.
But if the PowerPoint pre-match lasted for an hour and 45 minutes.
And didn't have the visuals of the PowerPoint to help explain things a little bit.
You'd be like, oh, this is funny. And then after a while, you would probably be like, can we wrestle or something?
Yeah, there was too much just not wrestling in this for me to really be able to pay much attention and enjoy it.
I think we're, of course, at a disadvantage not speaking Japanese. I'm sure if we spoke Japanese, that would probably be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, I don't speak Japanese, and I was like, oh my god, this is really delightful.
Yeah, this one was too much dialogue, I think. There wasn't enough just stuff happening for us to...
And there was a lot of oh, I'm this character, and I'm over here, and now I'm this, and I do this. And so it was the first one that I can't say I enjoyed. It's the first one I probably wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Unless you're a really deep Hyper Misao fan. But even so, she's not in it.
No.
That's the other thing. And some of this is timing where she gets injured, and that's sort of part of it, where it's well, it's not her fault. She's not in it, but it's just sort of oh, we're a bunch of the roster and we're just going to do this unrelated show.
Yeah. But then it turns into her comeback match.
Yes. After
an hour
and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So anyway, the very next day was Tokyo Joshi Inspiration. Kelly, thoughts on Inspiration?
It was fine. I really liked the angle they shot it at. Which is an odd thing to say, but just, I don't know, just having the kind of almost aerial view was cool. It was more of hey, I'm there, I'm watching it. But the show itself, I don't think was very noteworthy. These inspiration shows, they need a death match on them.
I think that dream has long since departed.
Yeah.
Sadly. What else is happening? Wave, of course, Catch the Wave is continuing. Soon to be over, but not yet. Kelly, you saw the Super Asia title match in ChocoPro from the 26th. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought this was a great little title match. It was Mei Suruga successfully defending against Sayaka Obihiro. My main takeaway from this one is that Mei sneakily became one of the best technical wrestlers in Joshi, and I didn't even realize it until watching this match. I was like, damn, she's gotten really good groundwork. Her grappling is good and makes sense. Like, her limb work fits the narrative of the match. I was just like, what? When did this happen? When did she get so good at this? So it's cool watching that evolution. This title run has been really good so far. At some, like, halfway through the match, they just started throwing hard strikes and, like, mean strikes. So it was good. It was a cool match. I went 4 1/4 on it. I definitely recommend it. Check it out if you get the chance.
And in a rare moment in this podcast, we have a live Joshi update and review. That's
I
right.
thought you just went to Maine. You didn't. You went to Japan?
No, I entered the world of MLW. Major
But Taylor, the
League
world
Wrestling.
never stops.
I had to jump on very quickly. Yes, I saw MLW ran a show here in New York back on, what day was that? The 27th of June, maybe. They filmed 2 shows. One was Blood and Thunder. That one had no Joshi on it, so we won't talk about it. And the other was Summer of the Beasts, which was on for free on YouTube. So I'm expecting that everyone listening to this has already watched it.
Oh yeah, I definitely did.
Featuring the Joshi action of Yuki Kamifuku defeating Wakana Uehara. That is the reason I went to the show, because I wanted to see both of them. I've seen Yuki live. I had not seen Wakana live, so check that off the list. I think if you're at all familiar with the effort level that goes into MLW, I would say both Yuki and Wakana worked about that effort level, which everyone else in the promotion does, so that's fine. I mean, the match was decent. They sort of got lost at the end. It felt like they were not on the same page, like nothing disastrously went wrong, but it just felt like something was not clicking. Yuki winning, a perfectly fine, forgettable match. Happy to see Wakana. She was part of the pre-show meet and greet and had a pretty sizable line, I will say.
Good.
So a lot of people wearing their Wakana t-shirts and getting pictures with her. So that was good. Good to see them. But really, I would say nothing. If you just happen to have not watched Summer of the Beasts, I would say you don't need to go out of your way, is what I will say. And that's all I'll say. What is coming up in the next 2 weeks? Well, let me tell you, July 21st is a big day in Joshi, and that's not in the next 2 weeks. So we're not going to talk about all the million shows that are happening then. Instead, we are going to talk about what is coming up in the next 2 weeks. Tokyo Joshi has the Yoshiko Hasegawa graduation show featuring the Yoshiko Hasegawa graduation match, which is going to be a 1-on-27 handicap match featuring Yoshiko Hasegawa against 27 members of the Tokyo Joshi roster. That show will also feature the well, they're calling them the final they are the final, sorry. The final qualifier matches for the Princess Cup. The winner of these 2 matches will go into the Princess Cup. So that is Kaya Toribami versus Moka Miyamoto and Palm Harajuku versus Himawari. Kelly, who do you think is going into the Princess Cup?
I'm hoping it's Kaya Toribami and Himawari.
I think it's going to be Mocha because Mocha has a big match coming up. But I do think it will be Himawari and hope it will be Himawari.
Yeah.
Marigold has a Korakuen Hall show on the 16th of July. I believe they're announcing that card in a day or two, so nothing announced yet. Sendai Girls has a Korakuen Hall show. Big matches on that show will be Aya Sakura against Yuna for the junior title. Aja Kong and Veni against the returning tag team Yurika Oka and Mio Momono.
Hell yeah.
That should be good. Hazuki will take on Dash Chizako in what else? A hardcore match.
Hell yeah.
And the main event will be Team 200 kilogram Chihiro Hashimoto and Yu against Mika Iwata and one of the newest official members of the Sendai Girls roster, Miyuki Takase. It was officially announced that Takase and Yu, strangely, who is retiring, officially joined Sendai Girls. So I don't know about you, but Takase, a good pickup there.
I cannot decide who's going to win that match.
Takase signed the name on the dotted line. You gotta,
But so did you.
Yeah, but Yu's leaving.
Yeah, but also fuck Mika Iwata. She's got to lose because that's what we do here.
Wow. Whoa.
And Chihiro Hashimoto is the champion. So does that mean you put another belt on her?
Maybe they'll go to a time limit draw.
They could go to a time limit draw. That works.
Catch the Wave is continuing in Pro Wrestling Wave. Kelly, what is happening in ChocoPro?
On the 18th, we've got ChocoPro 462. It's Time, which has 3 E's as though it was sorry. Foreshadowing? I doubt it. That'd be fucking cool, but no. 2 title matches on there. You got the Asia Dream tag titles. Makoto and Sayaka are defending against Sawasdi Kamen and Hage Nishino. And then in the main event, Mei Suruga is defending the Super Asia title against Miya Yatsuba.
And also happening on July 14th, SAREEEism number 8. 4 matches on this show. Sayaka Toyota against Tonori Hana. Dash Chizako going up against Chi-Chi. Natsupoi facing off against Miku Kanai. And in the main event, Seri and Takumi Aroha facing off against Saya Kamatani and Natsuko Tora.
Sorry, I've never doubted you before. But you're testing my faith.
It's like Seri, Takumi Aroha, Saya Kamatani.
It's wild that Saya Kamatani is wrestling a handicap match.
Yeah.
Tora must be the nicest person to ever exist, right?
Seri, God only gives his greatest test to his strongest soldiers.
Yeah.
And that is you. If this is a good match, Seri better be winning Wrestler of the Year.
I think if anyone is going to get a good match out of Natsuko Tora, it is Sari and Takumi Aroha. Like, I think both of those two can do it. So I'm hoping their powers combined, plus Saya being awesome right now, I'm hoping we just get a wild brawl of a match.
Well, I just hope we get a good match.
The rest of the card's cool. Like, Chi-Chi versus Dash Chisako should be really good, and I'm excited for Miku Kanai versus Natsupoi.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, they've all been good shows. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to think this one will not be.
Yeah, this is the one where I'm just like, I don't know about this, guys. But you know what? If anyone's going to have a good match, it'll be these guys. We got it. We got this. We got this. Sorry, I'm back. I'm faith restored.
Well, before Kelly has a full mental breakdown, that is the end of our show. Kelly, Do you have a Kelly's Corner moment for
I
us?
do. I got a Switch 2.
Oh, wow.
Nintendo sent me the email where it's like, hey, we're finally allowing you to purchase a Switch. You have 3 days. And I saw that and was like, I'm doing it right now because Lord only knows if I'll ever have another shot at this and if it won't be exorbitantly more expensive by the next time I try to get one. So I got it, and I'm very happy with it so far. The best thing I can say about it at the moment is I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet on it, and boy, howdy, does that just look like an entirely new game compared to how it looked on the Switch 1. I fully believe after playing it on here that generation of Pokemon was designed to be on Switch 2, and then the pandemic fucked everything up, and they were just like, hey, you got to make this game work on Switch 1, and it nearly fell apart in the process of doing that. So Switch 2, thumbs up.
A thumbs up on the Switch 2 from Kelly, and that concludes this episode of Jumping Bomb Audio. So for Kelly, my name is Taylor, and we will talk to you again in 2 weeks' time. Until then, farewell.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
Love Japanese pro wrestling? Want coverage of the entire scene, men's and women's promotions from New Japan to Stardom, Noah, All Japan, DDT, Marigold, and more? Then Wrestling Omakase is the podcast for you. Hosted by a 23-year Puro watching veteran, that's me, John Carroll, and a rotating cast of co-hosts, we bring you a passionate, knowledgeable look at the wide world of Japanese wrestling. Wrestling Omakase is right here on the Voices of Wrestling Network. Check us out on any podcast app or feed today.